Hello, everyone. I just want to share with you um, what happened to my brother at the UVA hospital in Virginia, University of Virginia. Um, I'm going to play for you a voice to text message of what was placed on his GoFund um, page by his son, what happened to him. But before that, I just wanted to say that this is my brother just before they decided they wanted to not provide any more care. Okay? He was responding. He was awake. Um, and his wife was begging that they would give him the blood pressure medicine, and they wouldn't. So this is the kind of thing that's going on right now in the hospitals. Not just at University of Virginia, but this is our story and this is our experience, but I hear it's going on all across the country, and it needs to be exposed. So I'm going to let you hear this voice to text message. Well, for some reason, it's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is read it. I'll just take a moment and read it. I'm going to go ahead and read this to you. For some reason, this service that I was using is not working. It's interesting. It's Google, and it's not working. But most likely with this technology, DeepMind and everything that they're offering free, they actually look at the keywords and they probably don't allow you to put just anything in there. But I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. It's quite lengthy, but I think it's important for everyone to know what's going on. So Matt said this. My dad passed away yesterday at 5:10 p.m. These are photos of him from the past 3 days. Now, I'm showing you one photo here. This is what he looked like just before they decided to stop treatment or stop caring for him. A couple weeks ago, we were told while he was fully sedated that he was expected to pass in the night, and they encouraged us to say our goodbye. My mom went in person, the only time she was allowed to see him the entire time he was in the hospital. He was in there about 2 months, folks. And the rest of us hoped on their FaceTime system. We said our goodbyes and expected him to have passed the next day. He did not pass. Because we were praying, right? Because we were believing God. A few days later, they removed his sedation. And over the course of the next week, despite what they thought, he began to wake up, as you can see in the picture here. These photos show him this week looking at us, smiling, nodding, shaking his head, and giving us time to tell him everything we wanted to, but didn't think we would be able to. Jade, my sister, got to show him his new grandson, who shares his name with him now. And I got to tell him that I had gotten married and that we had FaceTimed him in so that he could see. I am happy he did get to meet Dawn, which is his new wife, before he got sick. Wednesday, it was clear. You'll have to excuse me, this is quite emotional. Lord Jesus, help me, Lord. Wednesday, it was clear that my dad was able to understand quite a bit and was ready for me to get in there and help him get some stuff written down and that he wanted to say. He even had the staff put on Fox News so he could see the governor results. Does that sound like somebody that's ready to die, people? Let's backtrack a little bit, though. Saturday, sedation had not really worn off yet. On the 30th of October, we were called in because they needed to switch over his ECMO machine to another ECMO machine. They were worried that during the switch, he would code. So most of us went to the hospital and agreed that switching the ECMO was worth the risk because the other one had been used so long and wasn't providing as much support, they said. I'm adding that. They said that. So we sat in a conference room for a while until the specialist and the resident doc came in to tell us he almost coded, but ended up making it through. We were praying, brothers and sisters. We were all praying. Everybody was praying. He made it through the switchover. At this point, the docs reiterated the fact that Dad will not recover and encouraged us to think about removing life support. He was on full ventilation and ECMO and dialysis. I asked the specialist if he thought that the sedation would wear off enough for me to go in there and talk to him. He was very pessimistic about that possibility. But from what I have read and heard, I knew that it takes I knew that it takes heavy long-term sedation longer to wear off than usual when a patient's organs are so trashed. I made sure I was very clear that if he did regain consciousness and could communicate, I needed to be there as soon as possible so that he could help me get out anything he wanted to say about his treatment and words to his family and his wishes. He looked me straight in the face and said he would be able to facilitate that in the event it happened. Obviously, they lied to him. After that switch, we went out to say, see you later, Dad. Not saying goodbye to him, but see you later. And it says, I saw him blinking. Are you listening, folks? When he said, I'll see you later, Dad, he was blinking. I was like, why the heck did nobody tell us he started blinking? Oh, yeah, he's been blinking, but he still isn't responding to pinches. I was like, okay, well, you said he wouldn't blink either. Now he is blinking. So let's be clear. Tell us when he starts to respond to pinches or answers questions. They said not to expect it, but they said okay. They told him don't expect it, but okay. Sunday and Monday, as we all did our group sibling call, we saw him respond to things more and more. Are you listening, people? He started responding more and more. These people told us only after us asking of his improvements. Monday, I began asking over and over for the doctor or any doctor to call me so that I could get in there and do what I knew my dad wanted so bad, to communicate. And nothing. Tuesday, we were on our call again. Dad is smiling at the kids and overjoyed. Also, he's shocked and sad to see the prognosis, that he is able to see us and hear us and can communicate. So he's saying this is the prognosis, but he's able to see and hear and communicate. He's confused. He's saying, how can I do all this if that's my prognosis? Well, we've been praying, right? We've been praying, and Jesus was in the process of healing Jim, just like he told me. I kept asking for a doctor to call me so I could get in there, and nothing. He had full control of his eyes and his head. He tried to mouth words, but with the tracheotomy he had in his neck and stuff, that was hard for him to do. I had made up a system to be able to get next to him and have him pick letters with me so I could get down his words. I told him I was trying. I could see in his eyes he wanted that so bad. He knew most likely he wasn't getting out of there, but he wanted badly, capital letters, to get some stuff out, and that was fully possible. Wednesday rolled around. We were all on the call again. The photo of Jim here that you see in this picture. His eyes were tracking like a champ. I wish Matt would have gotten a video of all this. And I guess they maybe weren't allowed to, but I wish they could have done that. His brain was sharp. Did you hear that, people? His brain was sharp, and I kept telling him I was trying to get in there. I told him I was going to get an eye tracker hooked up so he could text and talk with his eyes. He wanted that bad, and I was trying to hurry up and figure out how to do this and get ready for the doctor to call me in. Hey, we are ready for you to come in, but they never contacted them. Never. Folks, listen to this. The doctor called them never after this. Zero priority was put on this happening. They sit there and say he will go any day, but not once since his ECMO was switched Saturday, or did this happen? They sit there and say he will go any day, but not once since the ECMO was switched. Saturday, did a doctor call me or my mom? Not one time they called. And they've been calling every day. Think about that, people. No calls. My dad was lying there totally helpless, but able to get out his last words, and nobody cared. All he had was the nurses going in there and suctioning out his mouth once an hour and being annoyed by the fact that I kept calling and getting no doctor to call me. I begged for 3 days to get in there and let my dad speak, and nobody cared. He knew where things were going, and he knew he wanted what he wanted to say. He wanted to say goodbye, but he wanted to say some things. But he knew where he was going. He knew, is what Matt is saying. All he wanted was for someone to care enough to let his oldest son in there for 1 hour so that I could write down even one sentence for my mom and the kids. Well, a doctor finally did call. He called my mom at 3 o'clock in the morning, Thursday, to say his lung collapsed and they had to fully sedate him again. Yesterday morning, I called and they said they removed the sedation again, but they weren't able to get his lung to reinflate after putting in another chest tube. They then told my mom that after 2 weeks, they wouldn't provide any more intensive care to stabilize him. My mom and I had an appointment later in that evening to go there and discuss this with the medical team. Then they called her right back and said, actually, we are no longer, listen to this, they are no longer providing that care starting that day, and that you need to come in as soon as possible because we think he's going to pass. Now, by the way, people, this is a law in Virginia now. They can stop giving medical care. That's legal. They can do that now. We rushed there and begged for them, give him the blood pressure meds one more time so that we could maybe just get one more day like Wednesday. One more chance to give him the opportunity to get out what he so desperately wanted to say. And they wouldn't do it. We gowned up as soon as possible, walked in there, and 15 seconds later, he passed away. My mom and I spent so much of the days from Sunday to Wednesday begging the doctors to call us and set up what they promised they would. I spent days watching my dad's eyes and wag around his head, begging for these people to get me in there, and they wouldn't do it. As my dad was doing what they said he never would again this past week, they were silent. And I cannot express how absolutely insane that is. My mom was called by a doctor once a day the entire time he was in there. In the hospital up until this point. Absolutely insane. They never called. But they've been calling every single day and giving her an update. But now they're not giving her any updates. They had made up their mind. They made up their mind. I canceled the eye tracker order today because I am calling around to the funeral homes instead. Please keep my family in your prayers as we sort things out. UVA sucks. I'm sharing these things, brothers and sisters, because the world needs to know what's going on. You know what I found very interesting? I went to Google, folks, and I typed in the UVA hospital. Now, you go type in your hospital in your area, and you tell me if you're able to see some reviews or ad reviews, okay? But you go to UVA's listing, and maybe that was just on the mobile phone. Let me see if I can do it here. On the mobile phone, I couldn't see any reviews. Let me see if I can on here. Yeah, see? There's no reviews. It shows the reviews, almost 200 reviews, but when you click on the link, you can't get in there. You can't see the reviews. So somebody very powerful at this university has stopped people from being allowed to see what's going on in that hospital. And it's just a matter of time probably before they're going to do it with all the hospitals. But I'm doing it right now. I'm clicking on these, and I don't see any reviews, any way to correct me if I'm wrong, folks. But maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. Okay, I do see them at the bottom here. But on the mobile phone, they wouldn't. Okay. So now I can go look at these reviews and see what other people are saying. But isn't this just so sad? Look at him. Does that look like somebody that's ready to die? I mean, how do they justify that? How do they justify that? How do they sleep at night? Anyway, I wanted you all to hear what really happened. God bless you. We've got the power in the name of Jesus. We've got the power